Hello, we got a new intro. Isn't it nice? Oh, thank you, God. God is good. Okay, I'm so happy to have you here this week. We're going to talk a little bit about money, but in a different way, in a little bit of a different way. Why? Because as the world is transitioning and changing, it's easy to get caught up in what's coming next, what's happening next, some of the fear. And I want to give you guys today some tips, some things you can do to not get caught up in, I call them the have-nots. We don't want you caught up in the have-nots. We want you to be very strong and very connected to understanding things you can do to make shifts and changes. And there's so much right now, and we hear a lot of information, and we don't learn. We talk a little bit about the finances and the energy of money on our show because we like to give you lots of topics that you can digest. But we're not really taught it in school. We're not really taught what to do, what to look for, but we're also not taught some of the secrets. So you can go out and you can have the energy behind it. Yes, you can think positive all day long, but if you've got energy blocked in your system, it can really create some havocs for you. If you have curses around from people, it can create a disconnect in your energetic field when you're attracting finances. And a lot of people, it's a hard topic to discuss sometimes, and it can be uncomfortable for people because you get into this place where, people say, if I talk about it, do they think I'm being greedy, or do they think, no, it's part of our world. Like, do you want to prosper and help others, or do you want to come up with all these crazy belief systems? I said to someone the other day, I said, you have a lot of guilt when it comes to having things, yet you declare that you want all of these things in your life. And I'm not talking, you can go as grand or as small as you want. As long as you're feeling comfortable and happy, that's where we want you. It's up to you what you set your space at. To be unlimited or limited is totally up to you. And I said, so picture yourself. I said, I'm going to put you in something that's extremely uncomfortable. And I said, picture yourself. So say you drive up to your family and you're in this kind of car. Like, I took something that was really out there, and right away they were like, oh my God, like I feel guilty. And I would hear all these comments and I would hear all this shaming. And I said, there's the problem. So often we forget, and I know coming through this journey myself, is we forget that other people's projections can really mold what's happening in our life. And it doesn't matter what's going on in your life, it gets in there. People have opinions, people have projections. And right now, a lot of times I was talking with our Miraculous Academy about how this big ending, right? We're ending karma right now between now and the end of the year. So a lot of the old things that you're done with want to come to an end. So you got to get on to know how to get rid of that, right? And break those connections. And those endings are going to open up brand new beginnings. So for a lot of people, it is in their new financial realm. But because the whole world is going through this transition, we also have to be in alignment to what the world is going through, because we know the system's changing. We know we're going to get a new system. You hear about it, or maybe you don't, but you want to understand and have a little bit of information so you can pull that new in and not skip a beat. A lot of times people say, I've heard this, I can't sell my house because nobody on our street can sell their house, but then we align it, and then they end up selling their house. You don't have to have the same pattern as everybody else around you, but you might think you do. So, when they give out city reports, or I know in the States a lot of times, right, there's those reports, look at all these bread lines. Well, you don't want to focus on that bread line. You want to focus on the prosperity. There's so many people prospering right now and having some of the best years ever. That's the energy, thank you God, you want to take in. That's the energy of learning and shifting, right? You want to change your perception, change your focus. And look at, a lot of times, if your parents play small or your friends play small, who cares? It's like, we got to start to reverse that out of you. Thank you, God. Reverse that perception so we can bring you into a higher elevation, so you creating what you want to. But there's two things that people need to understand. Where does the creation energy come from? Yes, the heart is part of it. But the reproductive area, that's your power zone. That's your power zone for career and money. And a lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of issues and physical issues that come up in our reproductive areas and you know it's getting worse and worse and worse, right? You hear that. So don't be part of that. Let's create that space to kind of, we're just going to evict it out. We want to start to get it nice and strong. So the reproductive area of the body connected to the heart are where that energy actually flows to bring what you're creating. So I want to give you, we've got some callers online, so hang on, guys, I'm going to get to you. But what I want to, and you can call in 1-800-930-2819. I want to give you guys some little tips here of things that you can start to look at and do in your life right now, things you can do and that you can get on. So spirit of generosity is huge. I have to move I did write these down today. Normally we have no notes, but look at me, my scribble, for people that can see me. So what's happening is the spirit of generosity is one of the biggest things that you can actually start to step into and really create a different change in your wealth vibe. So it's a choice. I wrote down this. It is a choice. It's a choice every day. Are you going to be generous or are you going to be Mr. Scrooge? A lot of people are Mr. Scrooge. Oh, I can't do that, or I can't afford that. Listen to your words. I'm going to give you a tip there. So, how generous are you being to others of your time, of your money? And it doesn't have to be a lot, guys. You might say I only have $5, but $1 of generosity somewhere else can come back to you in $20, right? So the generosity is always producing prosperity. It's always moving you into prosperity. So just feel that energy shift, and I want to increase that for you. Generosity always increases opportunities for you as well. So when you're in the spirit of generosity and you're not in the spirit of lack or fear, you get more opportunities. When you're in the spirit of lack or fear, it's like shutting the door. So go to your front door and you're literally shutting it. So when the opportunities are coming in and you're in fear, they get to the door and they're like, hello, I'm here. And you're like, no, go away. Then the mental process of fear, right, of the enemy spirit or Luciferian energies, what happens is they're like, okay, they take over. And then you go, well, the opportunities don't come to me, or I'm not creating anything. And a lot of times we've created a lot of extra wealth, or we've done better than we thought. We don't even know because we're not even paying attention to it. So it's important that you pay attention to it and you celebrate it. You pay attention and you celebrate it. This relationship with how things flow in your life is what's really important. A lot of people talk about, have those thoughts and yes, affirmations. You could say, okay, thank you, God. I love the new prosperity coming into my life. I am full of prosperity. And a lot of people do I'm the money magnet or whatever it is. But you have to feel it. Like that's kind of the one step. That's the baby step. But if you want to really start to create, you have to be appreciative and say, oh wow, I saved this much this month. Thank you, God. That's overflow. Or I was able to give more or invest in myself more and look at what came back to me. That's overflow. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for more overflow in my life, more overflow of prosperity so you can show up more. As the karma is ending for people, you're going to have more overflow no matter what's going on in the world, because you're going to see a lot of stuff going the other way too as things reset. But as we go into overflow, it's like a money transfer, like a wealth transfer, going from people that just wanted to be greeters and hoarders and all that to people that want to better the world. So it also says a lot about you. So if you're in the spirit of generosity, it really shows how you show up. You'll over deliver. People, my clients, it's so lovely. They always are sending me, Tracy, you over deliver. I did an online prosperity class. You can get it on the online programs on my website, tracyoclark.com. That class was going to be 4 hours, but we ended up doing 2 days. It's all there. You can listen to it, watch it. It's an e-course. You can go through it as much as you want. But I think it's 7 hours that we ended up doing to shift for career and finances, 7 hours. And they're like, why are you always over delivering? And it's because I always feel to, because I love it, because it's what God tells me to do. Now, if there was a time barrier where obviously I wasn't able to do that, which I couldn't on the one day, we had to extend to another day. I heard to change it, to give more. So we always, you're moving, you're shifting. How can I be a generous giver and be a generous receiver? And one of this is generous giver and receiver. I pulled out my book of my friend Joshua Mills, Moving in Glory Realms. Him and his wife, love them dearly. And it was interesting. My book looks well used. I kind of use it as just I just love it for many different reasons. As a spiritual minister, and he's very good-hearted people, very good-hearted people. And I pulled out, there was a part, and I'm going to read it to you because I want to, that he wrote in the book. I didn't know he put me in the book, but I want to share something with you that he wrote. He said, I know many people who live this lifestyle of generosity. They tithe regularly, but also take time in their prayer life to ask God where and how they might be a blessing to others. Recently received a special gift in the mail from our friend Tracy. One of the most generous people we know. She constantly looks for people and places where she can be a blessing in spirit, soul, and practical ways. She lives a generous lifestyle, and in return, we've noticed that she is extremely blessed. Tracy also has favor on her life. The Spirit opens doors and opportunities for her that others might not have because she's positioned her life in a way that is open to both give and receive. I had to learn this, and the reason I was shocked, I didn't know that was in there, and it was a beautiful blessing. But I want to increase this for you because I learned this. These are people that see it. I learned it. I was always a really generous giver, but I sucked at receiving. I was a person, no, because I'm like, what do you want in return? No. So when I learned the spirit of generosity and I learned how to receive and say thank you, and if somebody gave me something out of obligation, I said no. And if somebody gave me something and it was good, and I said thank you, and then they changed their mind down the road, and then they started to guilt or shame, I cut the energy off and was like, that's yours, not mine. You chose to give it. I received it. Thank you, God. Now you've changed your heart. Now you need to clean that up. So that was years ago. So I learned, I had to walk through this. It's not comfortable to learn both, but I want to thank that hand of God because you will become a generous receiver and a generous giver. Then all of a sudden it changes the energy. And when you're able to see the spirit of generosity, you will open the doors. Most people are like, well, I'm going to give this. What am I going to get? If you're in that place, that's enemy spirit. You never, ever give wondering what you're going to get. Ever, ever, ever. It is a no-no. You give because you want to. You sow, you tithe, you put your money, your time, your energy into people, places, and things you believe in that are uplifting you, that are inspiring you. And it's like sowing the seeds. You're planting your seeds so more can come back. And that had to God sees as you're walking every day in your life. Are you being a Scrooge? Are you being the spirit of generosity? And so many people forget this. If you're constantly holding and hoarding or not being able to understand what the intuition is to take those steps, what happens is you're not going to open new doors. God will not open new doors. And then people are like, I've been praying for those new doors. They're not happening. I'm getting the same thing. But you got to do something different out of your comfort zone. And I'm not saying, so people say to me, well, if I want to learn to invest or I want to do something different, baby steps. You don't go put $10,000 if that's your life savings. You maybe do $100. You talk with people in your realm that are educated, and then you go do your own education. Key, stop giving your power away just because somebody's managing your money. Get involved with them. Find out, what are they doing? What are they investing in? Know every little dime. Have a constant communication, not just, oh, they'll manage it. No, because now you're closing opportunities because it's their vibe now working with your money. Then people complain, oh, I never made any money. It's not happening. You got to step out of your comfort zone. Become a generous receiver and giver. Thank you, God. I have so much to say, but I know we're going to have a break in 10 minutes. So, Zach, I think we have Michael from Calgary on the line. Let's go to a caller and then I'll continue on my clearing.
All right. We got Michael from Calgary. You are live on the Tracy L. Clark Show.
Hi, Michael.
Tracy, how are you doing?
Fabulous. How are you today?
Oh, quite good. Just woke up a couple hours ago, so I'm still getting warmed up.
Yay. What's your question?
Well, I wanted to ask, as you know, I've been thinking about decided to take some different steps, and the block that keeps coming up is, I know that I have to follow the signs, for things like moving out or who am I going to room with, etc. But the part that keeps creating a block is, where's the income going to come with? Because I decided that I'm not keen on having a salary job. I want to be able to move and create the things I want to do and have God show me what needs to be done every day, things like that. And it's creating a block, not knowing where it's going to come from.
Yeah, because that's actually where the ego picks it up rather than the trust. Because when you start to put things into place to have your money work for you, you start to understand that it is working for you. And it doesn't mean you necessarily, like you said, a job. There's a lot of other areas that are just not a 9 to 5 job that you can make money in, which you are very aware of. And it looks like, I keep hearing that word freelancing. So it looks like you're going to be doing a lot of like contract stuff, right? That you like, that it's like your business, your space, you're out there. So all that contracting is actually coming into alignment. What will break is there's a lot of programming still that needs to come off. And, you know, as you say, oh, it's a block, but it's actually not as much your block. It's this is exactly what I said at the top of the hour, when other people's perceptions are still coming up, right? Out of the guise of, I love you, I want you to be okay. But that kind of program, it's like, well, I love you and I'm afraid that you're going to lose your money, or I'm afraid you're going to take the wrong move. That's actually speaking, that's speaking ill will into someone's field. What I would say is, thank you for your care, but I got this figured out. I got this figured out. Thank you, God. I'm following my way. Because we can remove that and override it. I'm going to speak in more trust of your inner guidance. More trust of your inner guidance, because when you start to trust more of your inner guidance and your inner knowing, you will keep taking more baby steps for prosperity to flow through. But it looks like there's another level of cutting. And if I can ask you this, what is your feel? Okay, so I'm gonna play this for a minute so the listeners can understand.
Yep.
What's the most expensive car you know of? We're just going to play a game here.
The most expensive car I know of? Oh, I don't really know. I'm into the old cars, not the expensive cars. Let's see.
Pick something that if somebody saw you out on the street, they would go, what the heck?
Okay, let's just say a Lamborghini. I don't know how much it costs, but it's...
Yeah, they're lots. They're lots and they're gas hogs. Okay, I have clients that have them, so I know. Okay, so... picture yours, and it's not that like you're like me. It's not that you need to have that, but I'm just going to use this as an energy example for everybody listening and go, what? So picture yourself in that car. Now you have that car. Somebody gave you that car. You manifested that car, and now you're going to drive up in front of all your family. They're all standing on the sidewalk. What are the first feelings and emotions that come up?
Well, the first thing they came up with is I don't want to be seen, like looked at in that. Like I just don't want to have people see me in that. I don't know. I feel like there's also a little bit of guilt, like you know, you shouldn't have that, or you didn't work for it, or something like that, sort of thing.
It's guilt, it's judgment. Yeah, it must be nice. Yeah. It's guilt, it's judgment. I love this exercise because it doesn't matter. You could say, well, I really don't want that car. You and I would say, I really don't want it. But symbol, right? Because if you show up with something bigger or greater than any of your family, you're stepping out of their paradigm. So by stepping out of the paradigm, this is where the blocks and the resistance for all of us comes from. And I get it because my family did that to me, right? When I was young, it's like, must be nice to have this big house. Must be nice to have these cars. Must be nice to have no debt. You're like 26 and I gave it all away, right? Because I felt so much guilt and shame. I don't want any of you to do that. Thank you, God. So now do you see where it's like, okay, now what we're going to break is the guilt and the shame. Because you are allowed, I'm going to override this and speak in thank you, God, and in part, you're allowed to have whatever you desire and show up any way you want to. But it means stepping you out of their paradigm.
Yeah.
And being okay with it. So if they say must be nice, you go, yeah, it is actually. It's really nice. You could have that too. But do you feel how uncomfortable that is in the body if you said that?
It is, yeah. It is uncomfortable as soon as I put myself in that position because I know that there's going to be those judgments and I'm going to have to just be neutral to that and say, yeah, it's nice. You should have figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. So you're setting a new paradigm for all the younger people to come after you. Thank you, God. Like one of freedom, right?
Yeah.
Can you feel the difference in that? Like you're setting a new paradigm, so there doesn't have to be struggle or just getting by, because that's enemy spirit,
yeah.
struggle and getting by.
Yeah, I can feel the difference. It still feels uncomfortable, but I can feel the difference in that.
Oh, yeah. And people say, okay, we shift the energy, but now the action step is really, yeah, I'm doing it a new way and I'm comfortable with it. And like stating it, right? When people say that, or they look and go, oh, what are you doing? Or I'm afraid. Like I see a lot of times I have people that come forward where they've given up their dreams and visions because they have spouses that are so afraid of losing money that, or taking risks or bettering lives. And then all of a sudden they have this huge issue later on because one now has given up all their dreams. And when they look back, they're like, oh my God, if I had actually done what I knew I wanted to do and not bought into their fear, they would have been in a much different financial position.
Mm-hmm.
Our family does the same thing. Our spouses do the same thing. And this is a place, thank you, God, where we can start to remove that accumulation. And it's like, yeah, it is, you know, thank you. I'm glad, I'm really grateful I took a different route.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Actually, one thing that just came up as you were mentioning this, and I wasn't going to share it, but it's like every time I share, like have an idea of something that would be cool, like yesterday I shared, oh, it'd be nice to spend a night at the Banff Springs Hotel or whatever. And as soon as I share something like that, the first thing that people say to me is, yeah, but how are you going to pay for that? And it's like, I don't know.
Wow.
I'm just dreaming of it. Like I
Hey,
feel
that's
like
a curse.
I get shut down
You know
every
that?
time I mention.
That's a curse. That's to kibosh your flow. That's actually a curse in the field.
Okay.
So what you say is, that's for me to figure out, and I will figure it out. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, because I always try to justify how it's going to happen,
Nope.
and I don't need to.
Nope.
Okay.
That's for me to figure out, because you're going to figure out with God, and I'll do that. Thanks for sharing. You know, and there is something, I remember the first time I took myself to a super high-end hotel with my kids, and we started, it was in Banff. We would go to the Rimrock, and the rock, you know, the one up on the rock there by the hot pool. And it was like, we go Christmas, and people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, and we'd have so much fun, and we go swimming, and we go to the hot pool, and we'd have a day in the town. And people, they had a lot of judgments. And I was like, yeah, well, you know what? They're like, well, how could you, you went through this or what's happening? I'm like, well, I'm figuring it out. I don't need your judgments. I'm figuring it out. And I figured it out. And it was crazy because I started getting like mega deal offers out of the blue for this high-end hotel where you're going to spend $500-600 a month. It was like, you know, or a night. And it was like 120. Like, it was crazy. See how you create?
Cool. Okay. I'll take that.
So take that. I'm so glad you called in, and let me know how that's shifting, because that's a big one, okay?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I'll keep working on it.
Lots of love. You know what, guys? If you're having, these are really prominent issues that happen, that come up, and we don't even think about that of the people around us and, you know, how we want to have that change and transition. It's really, really important that you start to look at this. So, you know, it's got to get clear, because we're moving into a new way. We're moving into a new way of finances, whether, you know, we know we're going to have the 90-year reset around currency. It happens all the time. So we're heading into something new. Don't be afraid of it. You could prosper. You could do well. Why not? Thank you, God. So I encourage you all. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Juliana. But check out tracyclark.com. Go to the online programs. We're setting up the page differently so it's easier for you to navigate. So much happening. I just actually got my book off to print. It's been a big transition, but I'm proud of myself. There's a big 8 years in the making, so it's never too late. But go to the tracyclark.com website. You can get the free membership, the free audio downloads as well. But under the online programs, it's literally, it's over 7 hours of shifting for career and finances to set you up for what's coming, the changes, the transitions, the transformations. You can listen to it over and over. And a lot of people tell me that I've already gone through. We had now over 100 people go through it. They're saying they're sending in all their miracles, their transitions. We had one lady, she literally during the call said she wanted to sell her condo over the weekend. I said, well, let's align it. And nobody was buying really at the time, but she got $40,000 over asking. She aligned it. It sold within 48 hours during the pandemic. Yeah, okay. Very crazy, multiple offers. But these are the kind of testimonials that people were coming in with right away. And you can have that. But it's really understanding to go within. So you have to decide how important you are and who do you want to play with. Do you want to play in the prosperity realm, or do you want to play in the realm of lack? You get to decide. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Juliana after the break. Welcome back. We could go do some dancing. I like our new music. It's fun. It keeps you in the spirit. I've been so happy. People are like, why are you so happy with what's going on? Because I see what's happening in the spirit. So I didn't get caught up with what's happening out my door. I get caught up with what's happening in the spirit. So take that in. Thank you. Thank you. I want to, before we go quickly to the phone lines, remind you guys too with offering and tithes. And so a lot of people ask me about this because it does come out of the religious line, which we know is starting to change and transition and dissolve into more of a new line of ministry of love, kindness, and compassion. So all spiritual and that space. So there's a lot of breakdown and new beginnings happening, but there's some good teachings you can pull over. So people always ask me, what's the difference? So remember, offering is no set rules. You're just offering your service, your time, your money, whatever it is. You're just offering it there. There it is. And you're saying, here I am. What do you require? A tithe is a lot of times you're tithing a set amount into something, which is giving. So the universe sees that. But be very careful where you're tithing and sowing. So usually when you tithe and sow, it doesn't stop. It's a weekly thing, a monthly thing, however that is for you. So it can be in your coaches, your healers, your ministers, your churches, your programs you do monthly, whatever it is. So that's how that works. And so what happens is when you're constantly giving in to somebody that is elevating, however that looks for you, and you're sowing and tithing into that on a regular basis, it naturally elevates you, and then you get the giving and the receiving. So I know, like, we do Soul Sundays and people do our monthly programs, but we pull them up, we give them a lot in return. So they're getting back, but then also every time our company gives, that generosity goes to everybody that's connected to into our tribe, our community, right? So it moves and it shifts. So that's the difference. One thing is a regular basis, and the other is just sort of as you hear it. So remember, to create prosperity, every time you get that knowing, now you're brave, but you're knowing, you're like, I need to do this, you do it. So you don't stop. That will open that door of generosity in many, many, many different ways. So just like I was saying with Michael, watch your words as well. So a lot of people will say things like, I have no money, or I'm broke, or I can't afford that. Those will stop. That's literally enemy, Luciferian energy. It'll stop your flow. So what you say is, okay, things are changing. Thank you, God. And I'm just going to shift that, and I'll do that down the road. Or that new money is coming towards me. So I'm okay right now where I am, but I know I'm going to be able to do that differently. So if you say, like, I wrote this down exactly, like, I'm broke, that's fear, or I can't afford that, that's fear, or everybody else has this, so that's why I'm having it, fear, or I'm cursed, that's fear, my money's been cursed, that's fear. No, you're not cursed. You might be from different people that we have to cut cords, but what the issue is, you have to make the choice. So as soon as you make the choice to do something different, you can very much break that energy lines of curses or spells or ancient rituals or things that family have put on you, those ties, those cords, right, or family. So you can step more into your power. So no, it's a choice. If you're struggling financially, ask yourself, do you need to learn more about money? Do you need to learn more about the energy of money? Do you need to attract different people in to help teach you, to help get you off onto your path and understand things? And if you're willing to do that, that will start to change your direction to open up more flow. Thank you, God. So watch your words and really take the next week, figure out, what are you saying? What are you saying? All right. So, Zach, we have Juliana on the line. Is that right? Am I reading that right?
We do. We have Juliana from Mississauga. Juliana, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Tracy.
Oh, hello. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, no worries.
What is your question today?
My question is, okay, this is kind of hard to put together, but I was looking at my financial flow, and as I was young, my dad always came in and rescued me. And now I feel like my husband has to do the same. Even though we both work and we both financially contribute, but it's just something, I don't know, got ingrained in me as a child.
Yeah, it's actually, there's also some past life energy that is coming forward. I'm going to break this, and it's really tied to, so when you have, it doesn't matter even if you're making your own money, which is great, but there's, like you said, there's a tie, and it goes throughout your past life, which will move, that if a man is not there, you won't be able to prosper or survive at all. So in your female lifetimes, and there's a lot of vows and oaths, and you can see in old lifetimes, obviously, you know, men hunter-gatherer, and that's changing a lot. Men still like to do that, but I have to actually pull off the programming. So it's like, the way they show it's like safety net. So if you don't have a man there, you don't have a safety net. So whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to start to pull off the safety net that's connected to men in general, because it's also past life as well. And it's also, there's this thing you have that I'm going to remove, that as long as that man is providing, it actually caps your earning potential, your financial flow. As soon as I put you into your own space just to see what happens, and then all of a sudden maybe, you know, you're investing differently, you're doing things the way you want to do them, and you start making more than a male, so we can use your husband, your dad, doesn't matter, but any male, you start to pull your energy back and you shrink. Are you aware you do that?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, you shrink. So let me start to remove this cap. So it's like, it's literally, oh, it chills. It's like you get scolded, like, no, you can't make more. I'm the man. Like, it's like your energy picks it up as scolding as soon as you want to break free and have more money. And it's also, I have to remove a dominant, they keep saying, remove the issue around dominance. So that's any way a man ever dominated you in this lifetime or any other lifetime. And that can even be male bosses, right? Where they can come in as well, and male teachers. And it's like these authoritative figures that puts you down. So I'm going to remove this cap and all this accumulation of cords, manipulation energy, past life energy. Just feel that for a minute. And I'm going to remove the fear of making more than a man. And there's also something in there about if you make more than a man, you don't want to be taken advantage of. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but I got to clean that out. Basically, would they take my money if I made more? Okay. And that can come in many forms. Like, people don't realize it's not just your immediate, like, it's not even about that. That I'm looking at, like, old male friends, old male lovers, old male, like, there's also relatives that show in there. There's a whole bunch. So let me just get rid of that for you. Okay, and let's override. Thank you. I'm going to speak into, so we're going to change the frequency, turn up the dial to strengthen you for making what you desire. Because you're only, and I don't know if you feel this, if it's a frustration, but it looks like you're only pulling in about 20% of your wealth vibe of what you're capable of.
Yes, definitely. It feels very low.
Yeah. So we have to start to increase this. Thank you, God. I'm going to start to, because you must feel that, like, there's a knowing in you that, like, once you actually have an understanding of creating and generating more, whether it's, you know, through other opportunities and investing and stuff, you're very smart. So you get a hold of it really quick. And then as soon as you start running with it, you can see your wealth life starts to move. Like, you must feel that within you, that you're not tapping into your full potential. Yeah. Okay.
I just couldn't grasp what it was.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's that energy that if you actually make more than a man, or you show up more than any man, you know that you've actually done something wrong. It's like a scolding energy. It's like, how dare you get back in your room? Like you would say to, you know, you'd hear as little kids when our parents said no different, they're scolding us and saying, get back in your room. It's like that. So I'm going to remove where you've been shamed, guilted, and scolded in any area of the life that's actually playing out in your financial picture. And I'm going to bring back your soul ties of people that took that energy away. Now there's a heaviness coming off your chest and the heart space and the lungs, because you have to start to breathe in this newness. So let me just open this up for you. And it's very interesting. For you to start to feel comfortable to move in this energy, it's actually showing to start making your moves in it, but it's saying right now, don't really share it with anybody immediately close to you. Just start to feel it yourself first, move through it yourself first. And when you start to see those little wins, then you share it, and then everybody else will come onto alignment, because you have to see how you're going to have to relate differently and say, yeah, like I was just saying with Michael, yeah, that's great. Look what I've done. I'm so proud of myself, you know, and celebrate your win. How does that feel when I shift that for you? Thank you, God.
Really good. My body stopped shaking, so.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm just going to strengthen the nervous system and then increase your, we have to increase your capacity in the drive to move forward. So now you might feel, because this is karma that's ending for you. Very good. I like it. So you might feel a little bit resistance when you go into the new way. It's just the cell memory coming up to release. So as soon as you actually keep walking forward, you're going to feel it's going to get lighter. The heart space is going to get lighter. And you're going to also see there's nothing to fear. And now there's like a new safety net. It looks very golden in color, which is, that's your spirit guide. That's your connection to the God consciousness. That's you working with spirit rather than having a pattern of a safety net connected to men. Good job. Wow, that's a big one, actually. That's huge. Does that feel better?
Oh, that feels awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So remember that. And even if you have to listen to the replay again and take that shift in a couple of times, sometimes we'll forget it, but take it in a couple of times. And if you're feeling some of that fear come up, just see that new golden net and like, that's my connection with spirit and me. And I'm my sovereign being, so I can create as much as I want, no matter what anybody out here says, feels, does, no matter what the programming is, you now have it, because the karma is ending. And when the karma ends, sometimes you can see some of that past stuff reflected back. All you need to do is acknowledge it and say, okay, thank you, that's not part of my life anymore. I'm now moving in a new direction. Acknowledge it, do the reset tool, and the foundation you have around money will strengthen a lot differently. Sound good?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go enjoy it. Very proud of you. That's a big one. Well done. Well done. Let me know how you make out.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Lots of love. I love that. You know what? Spirit's working in many, many, many different ways. All right. I think we have Barb on the line now.
We do. We have Barb from Kitchener. Barb, you are live on the Tracy L. Clark Show.
Hi.
Hi,
Sorry,
Barb.
did you say Barb?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. You have a question today?
I do. So I feel like this year is going to be a really good financial year for me.
Yep.
And I think I've done really well on my own without a man in my life for the last 10 years.
Yep.
And I just want to know if you see any issues or any blocks potentially blocking me.
With the finances or with the man?
Yeah. No, the finances.
The finances.
Yeah, because
okay.
the men are past.
Yeah.
They were blocking.
Oh, men and women can block us all, right? Okay, we learn those and move along. Thank you, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It looks like one of the things we can open up a little bit more in that area of with finances is your wealth vibe is jumping. So this is really good. You're doing excellent. You've opened up your realms. You're looking at different things. But it's really interesting. There is something I'll move here, and it's about you being strong enough to hold, like, it's breaking the tie. How can I explain this? Where you used to create money from a job, from things that you perceive as your mission or job. There's a tie there I can break, actually, because now what we need to do is there's still a little bit of energy there, but it's coming from a lot of, the word is actually relative. So it wouldn't be just your like immediate family, it'd be relatives of how people make money.
Yeah.
So,
it's the whole extended family. Like, relatives will call my dad and say, does Barb have a job yet?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's what we have to break. That's that energy that's where that issue is, where for you to just step up into overflow. So and be able to just have money come where you're like, yeah, whatever, I do what I want. So if today I'm on a beach for a month, then I am. And if tomorrow I'm, selling my products, that's what I'm doing. So you're in total control and in charge of your money. So that wealth vibe is moving, that's changing, but it's this perception. So what I would do on a regular basis is cut off, and I'm doing this right now in my own life, is because the energy is changing so much and there's a lot of different prosperity coming in for people in different levels. No matter what area of life, cut the cords, cut the ties, cut the contracts of all these people, because they're talking behind your back, trying to throw, and it looks like it's throwing. It's like a ball that's coming over a fence into your field, right? So they're throwing it, and it's like, I'm just going to start to cut those soul ties and them off because it's none of their business. You don't ask what they do. You don't care.
Yeah.
But that's where it's coming from. That's the block. And this is where to be very mindful of that and to remove all forms, thank you God, I'll do this, of manipulation. Manipulation that's not, like, this is not in your highest and best interest, right? They're trying to manipulate the field because as soon as you take a different path, as soon as you start running in a different area, they're afraid of that. And they also, there's a lot of jealousy that comes from that. And I'm not sure how much of that you've actually tapped into. It's there. But there'd be a lot of jealousy if you break free of the family pattern without having a job.
Well, and that's interesting because none of my siblings have jobs. Mm-hmm. My father was an entrepreneur. I think they want me to have a job because they know I can't make as much in a job as I could outside of that.
100%. 100%. So they look at that, and because of the ties with your dad and the how they got lots of, there's like literally trillions, I'll start to move this, of belief systems about who you should be with, what kind of money you should make, how you, like, they're very interested in your life. Like, I've seen your family interested in your life, but they're coming to a whole other level. So this is good because when the family's showing at a whole other level, it means you're on a verge of a massive breakthrough. Okay,
good. So I'm breaking free of them, right?
Yes. So they're just showing, this is part of the karma that's ending right now, right? So they're showing more in your face. Oh, I have chills. They're showing more in your face right now. You can see it because they're actually getting ready where they're going to realize, oh, okay, I have no more right there. So let me just clean this up for you.
Oh, cool. Because I've been doing that exercise you showed us with the fence, putting them behind the fence.
Yes, very good exercise. I would keep putting all the people, like, move that fence like hundreds of feet away and put them on the other side. Yeah. And sometimes I say, as much as it sounds bad, make an electric fence if you have to.
Well, it has the barbed wires on top, just like a jail.
Yes, go away. You're no right here. You're not in my highest and best interest. So I'll start to shift this, but you can actually see, I'll bring back any of the soul fragments again because it's very important that we're constantly bringing those back because people can take a little bit. So, you can bring it back, and then if they've said something or done something and the body gets triggered, we gotta bring back whatever they tried to take again. So, that's recent.
Tell me how I would do that, Tracy. I forget that one.
With the soul fragments, I say thank you, God, and it's you'll see it and feel it more of returning and cleaning all soul fragments that have been taken from you, so from any person not in your highest and best interest. And then as you start to impart and command the body to bring them up, what happens is you'll start to feel lighter in the whole heart chakra area because pieces of you are coming back of the true essence of your divine sovereign birthright. So it starts to increase.
Okay, so like reclaiming the parts of me that have been taken. That's cool.
You got it. Yeah, because they constantly, people try to take, and they take with their words, they take with their bad tongue, they take, and you think about it, where people have taken, whether it's love, money, health, whatever, right? When those come back, these are the things where karma ends, and then you get restored by millions. Yeah.
Well, I have some good news. I looked in my bank account today, and I got several $1,000s from unemployment insurance.
Oh, thank you, God. Everything's coming back from your, that was a blessing from all of that stuff that happened. That's huge.
Yep. I'm thrilled. Thank you for everything you've done on that.
Yeah, and more coming because you've made the right choices too of how you're moving things. So there's a lot more coming. So I really see such, like, I've seen more overflow for people in our community and people that listen to us and people that come than I've actually ever seen this year, next year. There is some massive shifting. I would say it's like God's come down, and so we're going to take it from the enemy, and we're giving overflow. You know, you hear this great big wealth transfer. Well, that's where it looks like it's starting to transpire. So
yeah.
it's
okay,
really cool.
Can I have mine directly from Bill Gates?
I think he's got enough for a lot of people. Yeah, we can.
I'll take 1 billion, okay?
Just take a little bit. He's got so much overflow there. There's a lot of them. Like it's their time is done, right? Time to come back to compassion for everyone. So you can take whatever you like. You're
I will
allowed.
take that. Thank you.
Thank you. Have an incredible day. So much love.
Thank you too. I'll see you tonight.
Yes, and we'll see you in the Evolutionary Academy. I'm so glad you called. There's lots to shift there still, so you're not done today.
Okay. I'll go have a bath.
Yes. You know, it's funny. You're welcome. I love it. You know, people that do the work and stay as we continue to grow and prosper together and we move through. And this is what happens, right? You start to see the shift. And that's why we do the online programs the way we do, whether it's an e-course or a membership, is because what I learned was learning all of this stuff and this energy. See, ding dong, we always seem to get deliveries throughout weird times of the day. What I learned is going through transition and change is really difficult when we're by ourselves. It's very difficult when we're not quite sure, or you know, we don't have the right information. So what it is always uplifting you into the spirit, thank you God, and allowing you to shift. So I really want you to remember that when you are offering and tithing or sowing into places, ask yourself, is this serving me or is this hindering me? Am I sowing my words, my time, my energy into something that is uplifting me and moving me? And a lot of times we can get very triggered and really angry when we're ready to have a new pattern. We're ready to have new things unfold. The reason we get triggered and angry is because that old energy doesn't want to leave you. It doesn't want to leave you because your body, your reptilian brain, has known how to function in that old energy for so long. So a lot of people get really angry because they're like, I'm so mad. And, you know, we had a beautiful testimonial of a couple who had said that. They're like, you know, Tracy would make me so angry because they knew they had to get rid of the enemy spirit. But they said, thank God that we kept doing the work and listening, because they said they're in a better financial position now than they've ever been in their whole life. This is what's waiting. But I'll tell you, as someone who made a lot of money and lost a lot of money, these are things I had to learn, which then brought in that prosperity. I don't even care what's going on out here. I listen to what God tells me and I take those actions. And that's what I teach you guys. It's what I teach you. So check out the online program, the e-course, if you don't, the prosperity course under online programs at tracylclark.com. And it's 7 hours for your mission, for money, for talking about new ways of being, and everything that's happening that you can take action for now. Steps you can do right now in your life so you can have that change. You become empowered. You become the greatness. You become the leader of your life. And that's what has to happen. Not your family's financial blueprint, not your lover's financial blueprint, nobody else's blueprint. You got to let go of it now. We are in the greatest time in history of karma ending to allow you to bring in new levels and layers and the best wealth transfer ever over this next year, 2 years, 10 years. You're going to see all this stuff shift. Not just going to magically end in a year and a half, but you're going to start to see things rebuild and change over the next, between now and 2030. So you know what? We have so much fun to have, so many new things. Thank that hand of God. And I want to thank that hand of God for blessing you, uplifting you, inspiring you, and shaking your foundation to bring in the new, because you deserve it. And if you're ready for that, say, thank you, God, I'm taking all that in. I'm taking that energy shift. I'm taking what the callers had. And I am now going to strengthen myself and go out there and do something different. And that's where the block's going to come up. But that's where I am on the other side to help you. I love you, honor you. Can't wait to see you next week. Sorry we weren't able to get to all the callers, but next week, same time, same place. We'll see you right here. Have an incredible week, guys.